Good morning. It's the start of the vlog. And Claude wants to eat his food. What? I'll give you breakfast in a second. I'm recording a clip. Loomis is back to rare form this morning. He just knocked over a bunch of things because he wants his food. Now. He wants his food now. Because he's Loomis and he don't give a flying fuck. Yep. Oh, cool. Beautiful. So I have started a single book, The Crow, The Lazarus Heart by Billy Martin. And this is a Crow tie-in book by Billy Martin. So far, it's very good. Well, all that's happened so far is, like, some guy just, like, woke up from the dead. But, like, it was pretty cool. He was like, whoa. It's like, whoa. There's a lot of things that happen when you're dead that gets reversed when you're not dead. You're like, whoa. So that's my goal for today, is to read that book. Now to eat this kitty. Okay, talk to you later. Oh yeah, almost time. It's not open yet, but it's coming. Which is good, because I managed to break 2 of my favorite Spirit Halloween mugs. Literally in the last week. Because that's my life. Broken dreams and broken mugs. Anyways, now back on my inadvisable walk. Yo, kiddos, what's up? Just got back from a big long walk where I went to the Warhammer store and they were sold out of all the things that I wanted. But I did buy one book because it is by the author, Evan Dicken, is the one who wrote the book that I wanted. And I was like, well, I've never read this. I don't know, it's kind of cool. There's 2 peoples with swords. They got swords. And things are like going around to swords people. So, works with me. Works for me. Swords. Sword people. Sword people. Sword people. And then I stopped to get to Peter at a place called the Peter Pit, which I don't know if that's in anywhere that's not Canada. But Peter Pit is a restaurant. And I have not been in there in a while. So I was like, I'm having a fancy pita. And then when I sit down to go to the pita and eat the pita, I took a look at the latest pre-orders for the Warhammer store, because I was like, well, if I freaking missed out on freaking the thing I wanted this time, I better, because the dude came in to buy the book like right when he opened, and I only came in like 10 minutes after. So he's like, yeah, no, that somebody was waiting there for them like from minute 1, and I was like, damn it, Bobby. So I sat down and looked at the pre-orders, and then I pre-ordered 1 book to pick up later this month. So I won't miss on that one. So now I'm going to do something I like to call the Great Unhauling of 2024. I need to make space on my bookshelves. For look at these things. They're like, please, sir, find a place for us. We look so disgusting here. It looks so awful just seeing us sitting here. Please, sir, find some space for us. So, that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to unhaul, condense some things, put some stuff together, and overall, party. I've just been listening to podcasts, so I'm probably just going to keep listening to podcasts, which is probably bad from a vlogging standpoint, but like, I don't know, man, whatevs. It's my life. It's what I do, what I want. Do what I want. Do what I want. Do what I'm in the mood for. Look at these kiddos running. Look, you can't escape me, kiddos. You can't escape me. There's nowhere you can run. There's nowhere you can run from me. This is the most unhinged vlog clip. And when anyone watching this right now is like, what is wrong with this dude? Well, get used to it. Okay, I've done a little bit of reshuffling, and I've made a little bit more space, basically to just put everything away for right now. So what I did is I decided to put the smut in the back and then do a double stack so I could put all of my Dragonlance novels and then some other like Magic the Gathering and Dark Sun books, like some other D&D-esque books in here. And then here is all of my Dungeons and Dragons books at the moment. So that's all them together. Yeah, just because I've read a few of them and I like them, so I thought I would actually put them out on the shelf because I'm enjoying them. And then the most space has been made here. And honestly, what I'm going to do for this bottom thing here is I'm actually going to do, near the end of the month, do another GarbAugust taste test where I taste test like all these books down here and try to see if I can't make it so that there's only one line here and I have full space for having another line of books over here. And then, yeah, so that's about it so far. I mean, nothing super excited. So these are the books that I'm going to unhaul. I was going to send these to some people, but I actually think it's cheaper if I just buy it and then send it to them rather than send my copies. These are fun. They're Bunny Killer books. I love them, but it's cheaper if I just buy them and send them to the person. So I'm probably going to do that. So yeah. So these ones I'm unhauling. And then there was only one book that I added to my things to trade in. And yes, of course I am trading in Garbology because I got 2 copies. Wow. So yeah, I'm going to go and put these into a little free library and then peace out and actually sit down and read. Wow. Wow. No, 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 Mr. Rocco. The beer is for the humans. And the beer was the discount, and there's this cool goat. Are you a goat, Rocco? No, I don't believe so. Are you a little goat? She's like, how dare you? How dare you, sir? How dare you? Good morning, good morning. It's great to eat some food. Good morning to you. So yesterday, I did actually finish a book. You're probably like, wow, finishing books in a vlog, wow, that's crazy. I did finish the audiobook for Alien Sea of Sorrows, and they all left. Why, where you going? Wait, this is the background. This is how the B-roll works. You motherfuckers. Alright. Oh, get out of bed. And just get the actual book. Saves me from editing it in. Alright. So I finished the audiobook for Alien Sea of Sorrows, which of course I do on physically, and I listen to it on audio. Sue me, bitch. Yeah, I've only ever listened to the Audio Studios dramatization of this book. I've never actually read the book itself because the first 3 books that were released in that Titan Books to like do their first little tie-in trilogy, they all had Audible Studios like dramatizations, and the dramatizations are quite good. And I only had a vague memory of the dramatization because I remembered that at a certain point you kind of get lost in the dramatization because like they're all in this like twisty turny underground maze of like a bunch of mining tunnels with all these aliens coming out and smoke and debris and everything. So it's supposed to be a little bit disorienting, but regardless, this book takes place after Alien Resurrection, which is cool. And there's a little bit of world building there, which is fun. It's one of those few books that take place post Alien Resurrection, at least that go out and directly say it, because like there's this book, and then there is there's the Michael Jan Freeman one that was in the early 2000s that was like with Ripley 8, because there's very rarely they take Ripley 8. And then there's like this book, and then there is Alien Uncivil War, which just came out. So those are the only books that go past Alien Resurrection. James A. Moore is a pretty dependable writer. I always enjoy his stuff. The action is good, the stories are good, even small characters do make a little bit of an impact. And yeah, overall, I like it. It's like these guys going down into this old mine shaft that was actually fought. The aliens in this mine shaft were actually fought by Ripley herself in the first book in this series, Alien Out of the Shadows. And I think that I probably like this one a little bit better than Out of the Shadows, but they're both like pretty good. They're both pretty good, but I just thought being original characters usually works a little bit better because you don't have any pre-existing stuff going in. So yeah, and one of the guys is like a far, far distant relative of Ripley, which I thought was interesting. And you're not really sure if he might be he might be the offspring of Ripley 8, which would make the most sense in this book, but it's hard to tell. You don't really know. That's not your food. You thought I wouldn't notice? You thought because I'm talking alien, I wouldn't notice your little sneaker? Your little sneaker starting to sneak? Anyways. So yeah, no, this was a great time. Lots of cool alien action. You get a lot from the alien perspective, which you don't really normally get, and it's like interesting seeing the world through their eyes and their teeth and their claws. Yeah, so yeah. And like in the dramatization, there is points where you definitely do get a little bit lost because of what's going on in the confined spaces, and that's kind of the point of certain scenes. So anyways, I really did enjoy this. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing or listening to next, but when I finish it, you'll hear. Okay, so I just finished listening to the slash tracks of The Nightmares on Elm Street, which turns the first 3 movies into novella, so they're novelizations. Not novelizations, they're novelizations, whatever, leave me alone, don't be weird. Anyways, so this was kind of amazing, because it really starts to, like, drift, like, so the first one, I still think it's good. I still think like the very first novella in this is still good, but it is very much a pretty straight retelling of the original Nightmare on Elm Street film. There's a little bit of extra information that I learned. Like, I never realized that Nancy's parents were divorced in the first movie, which, like, I guess now that I think about it, I guess is kind of obvious, but I always thought they were just together and he was like a workaholic. But no, apparently they were divorced, which was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then other than that, though, like, it's, part 2 is part 2. Part 1 is part 1. And then we get to part 2 and things start to shift and change a little bit. There's like little changes. Nothing I would say that's like crazy out of the ordinary or weird or like, or bizarre. Like, it's still recognizably the second movie. The gay undertones are still there, and actually they're even a little bit stronger in the novel, because like they literally go like, when he goes, you got the body, you got the brain, and like when he like touches his like his face, he's like, it says he does it almost sensually, like a lover's embrace. And I was like, oh wow, so like back in the day, there was like a lot of people who were like, back when they made the Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, there was a lot of commentary by the filmmakers and a lot of fingers being pointed as to whether or not the queer undertones were intentional. And what I thought was interesting about this is that, like, I think the queer undertones are very intentional in this novelization of it. And I don't know if that's something that he picked up on from watching the movie or what. I'm not exactly sure. But there's only a little bit of differences here and there. Unfortunately, one of those differences is pretty major. There's no babyface dogs. The babyface dogs are not in the novelization. which you're like, why would you even write this book if you weren't gonna put a dumb baby-faced dog? They're normal dogs. There's like dogs, but they're normal dogs. I'm like, but I needed someone to tell me why the dogs in the movie have baby faces. Why did the movie... Why he got baby faces? Why? Why have them baby faces? Why? Why did it got them baby faces? Why? I don't think the baby-faced dogs will be in here because it's not in the movie. But this is one of those classic novelizations that has all the little photos in it. It's very cool. And things get way crazy different when we get to the novelization of the third movie. And I feel like that was the one. So, like, this was released in the lead up to the third movie. And I think it's pretty clear that the writer had not seen the third movie. The third movie was not finished. Now, I've read some early scripts for the third movie, so like I know it's gone through some script changes because the original script was quite different for the Dream Warriors. And this seems to be like an interesting in-between because there's still elements of that original script that isn't in the final copy, but like the general outline is recognizable from the final film, but there are so many differences with characters and like the Dream Warriors have different power sets. A lot of the deaths are very different because of that. There's characters with like flamethrower powers. There's this like amazing with the kid who's like got like the magic powers. He like shapeshifts into a dragon, and Freddy Krueger's like a crow, and they're like having a battle, and you're like, what? That's just insane. And then like at the end of the book, Freddy gets brought into the real world and is like at a freaking rich people's party and just like massacring rich people. And at one point he just like eats a lady's stomach and he's like, "Oh, next course." And you're like, excuse me? Excuse me? What? And yeah, no, it's just very, very different. Like Kincaid can fly. Joey, who's like the silent character in the movie, is still silent in the real world, but like he's the one who's got super strength in this. And I was like, oh, okay. Taryn, I think, has a different name and is able to use flame power. She's got flame breath. So her entire story is much, much, much different. Other than the I'm bad. You get that one. But like she's got flame powers instead of just, being a cool ass punk who had heroin issues. But yeah, so without that element, like her death is completely different. It's like her grandma. Freddy Krueger is her grandma. And you think that like Freddy would be like, "Oh, grandma, what big claws you have, bitch." Which is how I would have wrote it had I been writing Freddy Krueger as grandma. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. He just goes, "You bitch ass, bitch." He slices her throat because the lady's like, "Grandma, I'm never leaving you again." And then Freddy's like, "You bet your ass." It just kills her. And I'm like, that is not a good line. Why did that line happen? There's like a Freddy Krueger dog. There's like a German Shepherd that's Freddy Krueger, and you're like, whoa, it's got like Freddy Krueger things. There's like that entire subplot in the third movie where like it's the doctor and her dad like fighting the stop motion Skelly Freddy in the junkyard. That is not in this at all. At all. So they have a completely different ending to this. That doesn't involve that element at all, which I thought was interesting because her father doesn't reappear at all in this. And then, yeah, no, there's just like a whole bunch of differences. And like all the differences make for like a very fun, different type of book. Like I had so much fun with this. I'm so glad I found this in a little free library and was like, oh, I should listen to the slash tracks for this because this was so fun. Like the entire day, I've just been going for. I went for like an extremely long walk just so I could listen to this entire thing because it was awesome. It was awesome. And there's this really dark, weird story, the life and death of Freddy Krueger. And so this obviously written before Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare, where they expound upon and go about the life of Freddy Krueger and like how he got to how he is. So it's like this really weird like short story about like him being found by like a pimp who like beats him up and you're like, what? And it's like a whole different thing and it's like, whoa. And him like murdering the kids is like, whoa, this is freaking wild, dude. It's freaking wild. Yeah. So yeah, I absolutely love this. It's so different. That was one of the big things that like a lot of people I think forget that about novelizations is that oftentimes they are very different than the movie, especially back in the day when they were based off of early scripts. That's one of the reasons why, Alien 3, the unproduced screenplay by Pat Cadigan is so much fun is because it's based off of a different script and it's adapting a different script. And this is obviously adapting a different script than was what filmed. So you get like an entirely alternate version of this movie that you know very well. And like, that's what I really love about novelizations. And it was right in here, bitch. Got them claws, got them claws, got them claws. Anyways, I'm going to read something else now, but nothing that can compare to the Nightmares on Elm Street, apparently. Although, this would have been a 5 out of a 5 if there were baby-faced dogs. In fact, there were no baby-faced dogs. And the world is worse for it. The world is worse for no baby-faced dogs in the novelization. But, you saw a bunch of the pictures of the baby-faced dogs, because I'm putting them in this video, and you'll be like, oh, damn, it's the baby-faced dogs. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Another one bites the dust. Another one's entering DNF hell. Goodbye among madmen. Now you're among the trash. This is just a really bad post-apocalypse novel. And the idea of this post-apocalypse is that there's something called schizophrenia X. Whoa, it's schizophrenia X. Wow, it's not novel schizophrenia, it's schizophrenia X. Whoa, and it's got a cool skateboard. Anyways, so everyone starts going, suffering from schizophrenia X, which apparently just turns you into like kind of like a zombie. But you don't do anything. Like, it's the kind of like zombie where you're just like, you're unable to take care of yourself and you're kind of brain dead. But then it mutates and then there's a thing called berserkers. And then apparently how this fucking book thinks the world works is it's like, because New York had all of those liberal gun control laws, they all got murdered by the berserkers. But us out here, the good old boys, in our place of being, hip and in the mountains of the Catskill Mountains with the rural communities. We all got guns, so we all survived. And it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense because if a guy... Because if everyone had a gun, then the people losing their mind would instantly have a gun as well, and they would be able to kill you instantly. It makes no sense. This is one of those things that you're like, if you think about it for 5 seconds, you're like, you're like, well, but I drive faster. And it's like, how this virus is explained in the book is that people without any, like, warning could just be, like, having a normal conversation, and then they just all of a sudden, like, attack you and go for your throat and try to kill you. So it's like, so that would seem like it would absolutely not be helped by having a gun. Anyways, Americans, man. America, y'all need help. Y'all need help. This shit is ridiculous. It's going to be DNF. Goodbye, book. Good morning, little Rocco. How you doing? Oh, you're going for the claws. Oh, ow. Oh, ow. Watch them claws. Watch them claws. Watch them claws. Watch them claws. It is currently Monday. Ow. It's Monday. Monday morning with this little... Oh, angel. Well, maybe not angel. He's a Cenobite. Angel to some, demons to others. Like this thing. He's a So yesterday, before going to bed... Hello, good morning, Cloud. You've already had your breakfast. Oh, you guys both want your second breakfasts? I already made the Hobbit joke last week. Alright, I'll give you the breakfast before I get to this update on things. I hear ya. Here you go. Jeepers. Jeepers Pete's. So, okay, you could... Ay. Oh, I was doing a random Alpha 5 from Power Rangers and Press Run. I don't know. Anyways, so last night I started and got about 100 pages in, actually, literally 100 pages in, to Crow, the Lazarus Heart by Billy Martin. I'm not exactly sure what I expected, but this book is already destroying me. It's very good, actually, so far. But it's... Are you fucking kidding me? Did you just do that? Oh my god. Well, I gotta go clean that up. Anyways, this book is good. I'll talk to you later. God damn it. So I just got some stuff in some book hauls. So I mentioned that I was looking for the final book in this one trilogy, and I did end up finding it. So I ordered these 3 from a random store in Toronto, and they was like, apparently they had them all in like back stock, and they've been like trying to get rid of them for years because they were just like $2 a piece, and these are brand new and no one's ever read them. So it's even more weird that there's like one book in this series, The Bones of Yaputsi, by Graham McNeil, that is upwards online of $100 for no reason, because literally every single other book in this entire series has been sitting in game stores for so long that they have massively discounted the price because no one was reading them. Anyways, I'm kind of excited to kind of get through them. I was really only looking for this, but like they were only like $2 a piece. So I was like, might as well get the other ones you got there. And this one looks cool as hell. Look at this eye. Who's got that freaking eye? What is this thing and why has it got an eye? And yeah, no, anyways. So, I'm glad it worked. And then I'm a bit over halfway done of Crow, the Lazarus Heart, and I will finish that today. Really, really good. We'll talk about it later. So, it is right after midnight, and I did just finish The Crow, the Lazarus Heart by Billy Martin. And oh my goodness. So first off, if you've read any of Billy Martin's other works, you should really, and you enjoyed them, you would definitely enjoy this. This does not skimp away from any of the more extreme elements of his other work. And this book is, oh God. The normal trigger warnings that you get with Billy Martin's work are definitely applicable here. I mean, there's a lot of language that, is used in a way that is like for a purpose to point out how like homophobic the 90s were. But, reading it in the modern day, it's going to be a bit of a shock. The thing that struck me the most about this book, so this is a book from 1998, and it's about a serial killer who is killing anyone who's gender non-conforming. So, like, there's like a trans woman is one of the main characters in this, and like the things that the serial killer says in this book is horrifying and disgusting and everything you would think, but is also the exact type of shit in 2024 that you like see at Republican rallies. Like,
almost like word for word some of the things that is in this book meant to talk about a deranged serial killer is the exact language being used like today. And that is so incredibly fucked up when you think of like an extreme horror writer writing an extreme serial killer and the views of that killer being basically mainstream in 2024 is fucking horrifying. This book was like, it was like, there's some stuff where I was like, oh my goodness, tough to read. But there's also some like amazing chapters in this. And like the characters are all like really interesting. There are so many viewpoints. Like this is not a book that has like a single view the entire way through. Like you are jumping in and out of characters and their backstories and their histories. And like there is a lot of jumping around, but like it never is confusing. It all kind of flows together really nicely, and I didn't have any problems like following it. But there are quite a few point of view characters in this. And yeah, no, it was really good. I mean, like, it was probably heresy. I am not a huge fan of The Crow. I don't mind The Crow. I think The Crow was good. Like it was good, but like I almost guarantee, at least in my opinion, this is probably the best thing that's ever been released under the Crow name. A really hard hitting, sad book about homophobia in the 90s, and it hits hard, and it's really sad that so much of the book, what this book is about, is still true today, 26 years later. And it's like, wow, we really fucking nailed the future, didn't we? Ugh. Anyways, that's tonight. A brilliant book. Again, this is one of the reasons why I love reading tie-ins. Because like I feel like this is a Billy Martin book that nobody else really talked about. I didn't even know this existed until I was looking up his bibliography, and I think I was on Thrift Books, and I was like, "What? I did not know that he did a Crow tie-in." And you're like, damn. So yeah, this was really impactful, and just go in with the awareness of Billy Martin books, where this is like a very, very queer book, but this is from the perspective of the 90s. So not everything is how we talk about it today. And also there's going to be a lot of like slurs and that used to point out the language of the time. So yeah, just go in, especially if you're a modern reader, just go in with that knowledge. But this proves that media tie-in books are sometimes beautiful and will just make you cry and are just fantastic books. So easily probably the best book I'm reading this entire month. But anyways, I guess I'm going to bed now. Okay, good night. Oh, it's Tuesday with the kitty cat with the big butt. Named Claude. What's up, Claude? It is Tuesday afternoon, and I finished the book of the day, which is this little, the second volume of the manga series Kaiju number 8. Now, I read the first one a while back, and then I wasn't that interested in following anymore. It's because it has one of those anime things where, I don't know why, but like, especially Kaiju anime, and this is manga, so I'm using the terms interchangeable. They're not, but kaiju manga and anime that have like a more like shonen esque thing, they'll start off with a really cool premise and then they'll do something different that I don't find as interesting. So, for example, like Attack on Titan, the first episode of Attack on Titan is super cool until one character turns giant, and you're like, oh, it's not what I thought it was anymore. Like the sad universe where everyone dies. Like it really sets up where you're like, yeah, the main character, he's fucking dead. You thought you loved him. You thought he was gonna be good. Now he's dead, bitch. But then he like comes back and he's giant. And you're like, oh, okay, that's like less interesting. And this one, Kaiju number 8, the first volume started out with it's like a older dude who works as like a cleaning service. Like he works as like a kaiju cleaning service after like the military takes the kaiju out. And I thought that was way more interesting than what it ended up being, where he ends up going like, oh, I get powers that I can turn into a kaiju too. Which I knew going in. I knew that part about kaiju number 8. But I thought he would just always be the person who's in the kaiju cleanup thing. But no, he goes to like, I'm gonna become a monster kaiju slaying agent and do the shonen thing and go to school and do military stuff. And I was like, oh, that's not as interesting as it like if it was just focused on the cleanup, and then he occasionally turns into like a kaiju to fight. But I will say this volume is like they're on their first mission after like being in training, and I do think that the artwork and the designs really do kind of make this one stand out because there's like a lot of really cool artwork and designs. And I think that the story kind of gets by on having some really cool designs. Like I love the way that looks, and it has some like fun characters in it that are not the main character. The main character is okay, but like this character on here and other human-y characters who don't have any special abilities are a little bit more interesting. Yeah, so this is fun. This is just like a fun little thing. I have one more volume I'm probably gonna get to this month, but other than that, I'm not gonna like prioritize reading this, but they were like a fun little sidetrack for the day to reset myself after that incredibly dark and disturbing freaking Billy Martin book yesterday, The Crow tie-in, which was great, but just depressing as all hell. And then I was gonna start this Hunter Thompson book, but then I was like, well, is Hunter Thompson really applicable to GarbAugust? And then I was also like, I don't know, do I want to read this physically? And then I looked and like there is an audiobook for this on Everand, and I was like, I'll just listen to that some other time. So I just saved that, and I'm just gonna put this in a little free library. So I don't know what I'm gonna read next, but I'm gonna listen to some podcasts and go do some running around. So talk to you later. The benefit of a fan is kind of lost when... What? Are you drinking my water? Hey, I'm not making a... Give me that's my water, you little turd. Nice water. As I was saying, oh, thank you. It's a little hard to get the full advantage of a fan when somebody's standing in front of it. Who could it be? Boom, 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 boom. It's not me, of course. Hello, it is Wednesday, and I have not been updating too much in this vlog. I am sorry. Yesterday I was not feeling well, but I did get some reading done yesterday, which was good. I'm currently in the middle of two things. One, I'm in the middle of the audiobook for Alan Dean Foster's novelization of Aliens. Ooh, wow. Wow. And I'm uploading right now. I'm what is this called? Rendering, exporting, rendering. My top 10 Alien tie-in books right now. I'm sure the comments of that are going to be awful, and I'm going to have to deal with that, but whatever. So I'm listening to that because Alien Romulus comes out tomorrow. But I also randomly, oh man, I randomly picked up a book that's over there, but like I don't know. I don't want to. Oh, she left. Okay, sorry about that. I was like, I don't want to kick Wisteria off. That seems rude. But I did start, and this is an absolute surprise. I started Route 666. One, I did learn that I don't actually. So there's actually Route 666 is both the title of this original story collection, but then there's also a full book that's called Route 666 in the same franchise, and I didn't have that. So that was one thing that I had to learn. So this is all set in the Dark Future series, which was an old Games Workshop, the same place that does like Warhammer and Warhammer 40k. This was their third franchise for a while back in the day called Dark Future. And it is so much fun. It's very Mad Maxy, but there's like so many extra elements to this because like I thought this was going to be just kind of like a fun Mad Max-esque like alternate universe, and it is that, but there's like cyberpunk in there a little bit. And then there's also freaking demons and stuff. Like there's also occult stuff. And you're like, what? Because like the first story in here, Route 666, which is by Jack Yovel, also known as King Kim Newman. And this book, like it starts and you're like, oh yeah, it's setting up this like alternate universe and it's kind of interesting. And like, you know, it's like not every element works super well in terms of like building like an alternate sci-fi universe. Some of it is like a bit like, okay, I get what you're doing, but whatever. But then it kind of like near the end, it like shifts to this like occult story and you're like, what? I thought this was just this. And then it turned into this. What? And it was like a huge surprise and I had so much fun with it. There was like all of these amazing freaking gangs in this that I have so much fun with. This is like literally like the psychopomps versus the daughters of the American Revolution. And they're both complete psychopaths, which I think is amazing. And yeah, I just love the psychopaths. They're like, apparently they're big into Russian pop music. And it's just like, okay. I feel like if you updated Dark Future and did it today, there would be like a, you know, like a K-pop gang and they'd be led by Crystal from Fiber Artsy. And we'd all be like, yeah, go K-pop band. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of stories in here. And I am just in the middle of Thicker Than Water right now. But yeah, I have a few more to go down here. And I'm very excited because, yeah, no, this has just been really solid and really fun to read. And, like, the stories are very different from each other. And they all have different aspects. Like, this is a story about a guy who befriends this lady who's got, like, been, like, experimented on by this like evil corporation and she has like lizard skin and stuff, which I thought was just kind of interesting. And yeah, and there's like some that are just like big old car battles that are really fun. This was like a fun duel between like this guy and this like old who's in this like old muscle car versus this Rolls Royce. That was really fun. And like this is like you know, there's men's adventure-y elements to this, but it was obviously written by someone with a more left-leaning focus, so like it's not as unbearable to read. Like I enjoy pulpy stories like this and have a lot of fun with these like old pulp stories, but like, you know, they can't, like if they're just like right-wing jerk-off fests, which I find like most of them are, they are just absolutely unreadable and horrible. But this is just like really really fun and this is all written from like, these are all British authors writing about American culture, which I think is fun, and they're not as focused or in love, making love to their guns, which makes the stories actually interesting. So I'm gonna try and finish this today, hopefully. The Alien one I'm probably gonna finish tomorrow because I'm hoping to finish that when I go actually to see the new Alien movie. So focus on this today and then the Alien story tomorrow. But yeah, I'll update you later. Look at this beautiful gear. I love you. I am summoning, using the holy ritual of going on the cob. Ooh, magic, magic. I don't know. I'm making corn on the cob. Makes me think of Kelsey from Slime Slashers, the Corn Queen of Louisiana. Another day, another surprise find at frickin' Value Village. I cannot believe I found these. These are normally so expensive online. They're a bunch of Horus Heresy books. And oh, they got the cool fold-outs, man. Oh man, these are so cool. I love them with the fold-outs. Dude. So I got Unremember Empire, which is very good. It's a Dan Abnett novel. This one, I was so excited. Freaking Betrayer. Man, Betrayer is one of the best fucking novels. It's so good. It's by Aaron Dembski Bowden. And oh my god, is it so freaking good. This book is so good. And I am so happy. Like, that looks so freaking cool, man. Amazing, amazing that I found that one. This is one of the best books in the Horus Heresy. So cool. And all of these are so expensive online. Like, these are not cheap books if I were to buy them online. That's why I listen to all these on audio, because I never
gone through that. This is War Without End. This is a short story collection. I don't remember much. Like, I remember this. There's some cool short stories in here, but like I don't remember a lot about this particular collection. But I'm glad to get it. That means I kind of got most of the short story collections. I think I'm only missing about maybe 3 or 4. Oh, that's not true. There's actually way more. Oh, there's so many of them. And then I also found some other Warhammer books at the place, and I was not expecting that. Soul Drinkers Annihilation, which is the second batch of Soul Drinkers books by Ben Counter. I actually have the first one right here, the Soul Drinkers Omnibus, so that's very cool. And this actually has like a better cover than the one that I have does. I found his freaking Grey Knights Omnibus. What? I've been meaning to find this one and read this one and track this one down for a while, man. That's so cool. This has all of his Grey Knights books, which are supposed to be like really good and fun. The freaking Rabner Omnibus. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love this series. And this particular omnibus has short stories in it that I had not read before, so I'm excited to dive into those. And then at a little free library, I found these 2 time machine books. They're like Choose Your Own Adventure time machine books. That's really cool. Cool artwork, cool stuff. Love those. Oh my god, I had freaking 20% off for freaking... Oh my god, I'm a freaking idiot. Anyways. And then I found this book. Well, sorry, I bought this book. This is like a giant monster-ish books about Gigantopithecus. I don't remember where I heard about this from, but I'm excited to get this one as well. I ordered that one online during my birthday. So yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to unhaul and make room. It's not happening, bitch. You trying to get him? You trying to get your new friend? Oh, Loomis, you're making friends that you want to murder and eat. That's cute. Okay, so I did just finish Dark Future. And yeah, no, this was fun. I mean, this is, it's a short story collection. All of them are very fun and trashy. Some are better than others. I think the opening little short story, about 60 pages by Kim Newman, was probably the best. Like, had some of the best stuff in it, some really fun world building, and it just had like a wild ending. And I think that was my favorite, but I do still enjoy all of the other short stories. Some are better than others. But I did have a pretty great time with it. The rest of them are very much more in the vein of like a Mad Max esque thing, with a little bit of, playing around with some, I would say Judge Dredd-esque elements of the world building as well. But it is its own thing. It's just you can see that there are a lot of influences here. And yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. I'm actually very excited to dive into the Demon Downloads saga, which is all of the Kim Newman books that were written. But yeah, I had a good time with this, and I'm definitely going to read more of these in the future. Yeah, this is just a very trashy but fun, classic wasteland warlords. I liked it. Yeah, no, pretty good. Only a few dated things. There were a few dated elements, but there weren't too many of them. So I was kind of impressed for a thing from 1990, is that most of the references to events were actually a little bit more on the up and up. So yeah, this is just a nice, fun, silly thing. So on to the next thing. But that'll be for another vlog. So, the only other thing that I'm going to do recording some stuff tomorrow, when I go see Alien Romulus and then finish Aliens by Alan Dean Foster. So yeah, talk to you guys then and have a, trashy day.
Been cooped up for so long with all this rain.
Loomis is watching
pack-rafting
Rocco from the only van life channel I watch.
Water level's really high.
Foresty Forest. He lives in a van. And he visits very nice places. Like, look at this. Damn. Damn.
floating down
Damn.
these glacial rivers.
Yo, Kitty, are you excited? It's Alien Day! New Alien movie! Oh my god. She's so excited. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's Ricker. Oh my gosh. So, I still have a little bit of time before going to see the movie, and I thought, hey, I should take advantage of my Marvel Unlimited subscription and read some cheesy Venom comics from the 90s. Because that's how one likes to live their life. I always remember seeing this particular series back in the day, and I've never read it before. I was always like, oh yeah, Venom Funeral Prior. I remember seeing it back in the day, and I was like, oh. And then I also want to read, there's a thing called Venom the Madness. So I had this comic back in the day. It used to be one of my favorite comic books. Like I had like this 3-pack, and I always would read it. And it was literally, it's just Venom versus Juggernaut, but it's just like a really fun comic from the 90s that I remember reading as a child. And then there's just some other random Venom stuff. I'm not going to read all of these today, but I'm going to dabble in some of these classic silly Venom comics. And then I'm going to go out and see a movie. So, that's the day. I'm excited. Okay, so I wasn't actually going to talk about these comics because I didn't think there'd be much to talk about, but I was very wrong. So earlier this year, I read some Venom comics, and I was like, I miss back in the 90s when he was more of a street-level character, and he was, had a little bit more to him. I was wrong. The 90s was a very bad time for Venom because these well, that's also when he was invented, but these miniseries are so bad so far. So I read this one, Venom Funeral Pyre, and it's like the team up of Venom and the Punisher, and it's so ridiculous. It's written by somebody who is never actually experienced gang violence and have only watched very bad 1990s freaking things on them. I have to show you the first page of this comic. So they're like, oh, this is the dark side of Oakland, California. And what's the gang's name? Jado? What? It's it is amazingly terribly written. It's one of the worst written comics I think I've ever read. Really bad, really stupid and silly. And then I read this, which is Venom Carnage Unleashed, which is from 1995. This is the book that is somehow worse than the other the Venom thing I read, because this is one of the most insane, stupid comics I have ever read. So in this comic, Venom, Carnage is in jail. He's in this institute, and in this institute, it costs a lot to keep him, refined into his cell, because they need to have all these wave generators and heat generators and things to stop the symbiote. So in order to pay for the rights to keep him around and keep him imprisoned, because it costs a lot of money, they make a deal with a video game company to make a Carnage video game. And Carnage in the universe of Marvel Comics is a serial killer. They make a serial killer video game where you play as the serial killer. Which, if you try to rationalize that into real life, that's the most insane shit you've ever heard. And because Carnage is a criminal, he can't profit off of this. So all the profits go into the upkeep of the asylum. But in order to make the deal with Carnage, he's like, but you gotta give me a computer, man. And they're like, okay, you can have a computer. They give him a computer, and apparently Carnage learns how to travel through the internet. He escapes after he travels through the internet and breaks into the game studios and be like, you guys gotta hack the security where I'm at or I'll kill you. And they're like, well, okay. And they do. And he escapes, and he just starts rampaging around, going to the place of the video game studios, and is like, you guys got this hooked up to the internet? I'm gonna kill every single nerd online. And I'm like, honestly, this might be the best thing you've ever done, Carnage. And then
Carnage goes to the internet and starts killing people. And Venom's like, no, you cannot kill all of these nerds on the internet. I will stop you. So then he goes into the internet and they fight in cyberspace until Venom destroys the heating fans of the computer and it overheats and like nearly kills both of them. So stupid. There's also a subplot about Venom has to like travel by bus to get to New York City where Carnage is at, and he's like beside this girl who's like this like, you know, like a punk rock singer, and she is going to meet this guy, and this guy like apparently like according to like Venom like looks at a photo of him and he's like, oh, that guy looks like a drug dealer. I better make sure this girl isn't gonna be in trouble. So he like follows her around, and then he gets injured by getting thrown into a train when one of his earlier fights with Carnage. So he goes to this lady's place where she's staying. He kills the dude because the dude comes in. He's like, "Screw you, dude. You're dead." And he like throws him off of a freaking building. And like the girl is like, "But he wasn't a drug addict. He was pretending to be a drug addict so that he could publish his poems." And I'm like, what? I'm like, one, you shouldn't be killing somebody who's in the middle of addiction. What the fuck? Two, what do you mean he was pretending to be so that he could publish his poems? So stupid. Oh my lord. One of the stupidest things I've ever read in my entire life. And that is saying something. That's an achievement. That's an accomplishment. And then, so this is the one that I read as a kid, Venom the Madness. This is something that I remember really liking and thinking was like a good comic book. And then, you know, I read it and I revisit it, and yeah, it's actually great. But the thing is, I thought it was indicative of how most 90s Venom comics were. And it's not. It's a fucking outlier because it's actually good. So Ann Nocenti, who is a female writer, is way more interested in exploring, you know, toxic male things. And like there is this element of like a business that is polluting the government, and they get away with it because they're big business. And like the thing is, oh dude, you're just like going on the streets and like beating up poor people. You're not actually changing anything. If you want to change something, you have to stop these like corporations who are like the real villains. And I'm like, damn, yeah, that's true. And like he falls, and then Venom falls into this like weird like toxic waste thing, and it turns him into like a crazy monster. And he starts like being all paranoid and like, you know, getting all these like superpowers while he's like fighting Juggernaut. And it has him like explore the inner psychology of Venom, and he ends up in this like cool freaking paranoia hellscape kind of thing. And it's just like it's trying to like talk, it like physicalizes a lot of things that it's trying to talk about metaphorically, like fighting your demons and all that stuff. So I just thought it was actually like a pretty good comic book with some good writing and some good style to it and cool artwork, and like it has a little bit more to it than every other Venom comic that I've read so far. So it's very funny that the one that I read as a kid, the one that I got my hand on, was the one that wasn't unhinged trash. It was the one that was actually pretty good. So this one is good. Venom the Madness is good. And I feel like I'm going to just have to continue on with this. There's so many. There's like freaking Venom, the Enemy Within, Venom the Mace, Venom Knights of Vengeance, Venom Separation Anxiety, Venom License to Kill. Oh, these are gonna be so bad, they're not gonna be good, and I cannot wait. Although this one actually seems cool because it's got Demo Goblin, who is like the Hobgoblin, but he made a deal with the devil. Don't worry about it. I'll explain it some other day. I won't. No one wants to hear it. But then it's also got Morbius, and Morbius is very fun. So it's Morbin time. I'm going to read this after I get home from the movies. Yeah, that's just the most stupid, ridiculous things that I've ever read. And I can't wait to read more. Doodles. Oh, yeah. It's time.
Well, considering I spent half of this vlog trying to set up the fact that I was excited for the new Alien movie, yeah, the movie was not great. It was fine, I guess. It was fine. Alien Romulus is the most, it's fine movie of all time. So this is typical Fede Alvarez, but like, one, he's very much style over substance. If you've enjoyed other movies by him, so like Don't Breathe, the 2013 Evil Dead, I think it was 2013. It might be, no, it's not 2013. It's much later than that. But anyways, whatever his freaking Evil Dead movie was, which I did not like. I did not like. But I did enjoy Don't Breathe, to be fair. I did enjoy that one. Not the second one. That movie was one of the most questionable movies ever made. But yeah, I kind of expected to not love this. I did hear good things coming in, so I was a little bit more excited than I should have been. It's one of those movies that is very much like, oh, we made something for the fans. And listen, bitch, I read all the books, I've watched all the movies, I'm obsessed with the Alien franchise. The last thing you should be doing with making a movie for the fans. It's annoying. They literally have moments where they repeat lines from the original movie, and you're like, ugh, why are you doing this? Not to mention the fact that, I guess this is a minor spoiler, but whatevs. They do puppeteer the corpse of Ian Holm, by which I mean they use CGI to recreate his performance in the original Alien as Rook this time instead of as Ash. And it's real bad. It's real bad. It looks real bad. And I'm like, oh, God. It was so bad, I was like, I'm going to go pee during this scene because it's ugly. And then he doesn't go away. He's in so much of the movie. So much of the movie is dependent on this corpse being puppeteered in a very literal way. It's literally the corpse of a synthetic, but it's also the corpse of someone who's dead. And it's all like, ooh, the company is bad. Now let me tell you that by puppeteering a corpse to tell you the company is bad, bro. Fede Alvarez is very bad with characters. I don't like his characters ever. His characters are, it's always like one or two characters that I like, and then the rest are like so unbearable. Not a surprise. It's also the fact here. People keep trying to be like, yo, I can outdo H.R. Geiger. And you're like, no, bitch, you can't. Stop trying. Stop trying. It kind of like repeats scenes from like every Alien movie, including Alien Resurrection, and that's what the last part of the movie is basically like trying to recreate Alien Resurrection, and it's bad. It's bad. Stop, guys. Stop trying to out creature design H.R. Geiger. It's not gonna work. It never works, ever. Anyways, I don't want to rant, but the movie kind of sucks. And this is even there is a direct reference to Alien the Cold Forge in it, which is my favorite Alien anything, even above the original movie. And they literally steal lines and ideas from that series. And I was still like, nah, bitch. I don't care how much you steal from Alex White. They are 10 times the author that you are. It ain't gonna work. Anyways, Alien Romulus, more like Alien fart noise. I did finish the novelization for Aliens by Alan Dean Foster, and that was great because Alan Dean Foster is good at writing characters, and it expands a little bit upon Aliens as a film, while also doing a really good job of being an adaptation for it. So Aliens, the movie novelization, great. Alien Romulus, fart noise, favs. So that's the end of this vlog. Always end with a whimper. Flarp yourselves and have a good day. Goodbye.